All right. Thank you, everyone, here for another episode at Visions to Ventures. I want to say thank you for all the listeners, viewers out there. Appreciate all that, taking that time and supporting me. Today I have Pablo Negrete, realtor, Utah realtor here, the best one out in town. I haven't used it yet, but I will soon when I sell this home. But I'm gonna have him, introduce himself, talk about just what he does as a realtor, and we'll hopefully, and also talk about the process it takes to become a realtor here in Utah, and just share his knowledge with us. So it's your floor.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks for inviting me. Glad to be here. Like you said, I'm a real estate agent. Been a real estate agent full time for 3 years now. Pretty much to get started on the real estate is just taking the classes, 120 hours, bunch of boring stuff, but 120 hours took about 4 months. If you're really bought into it, it can take you a little bit, time, like based off the time that you have. A lot of people have jobs and doing it part time, but it's a good gig. The reason I started doing it was just because of investments, and then I started helping family out, and quit my job, and then started doing it full time.
Yeah. So was it? I guess 3 years. Geez, it was. I guess good times and stuff like that. Because you would have started before the market got hot, or while it was hot. Or did you notice? Well, we can jump into the question, I guess, from that. But let me go back. As far as the process, you said 4 months. If you do full time, can it be faster than 4 months? Can it be within
Yeah, it's your own pace, because people typically work 40 hours a week. So realistically, you can probably bust it out in 3-4 weeks. So if you're committed to it.
Yeah, if you have like a doing another job or whatever. And then so once you finish the process, so you got your license, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then do you go and reach out to do you have to be a part of a broker or a realtor agency or?
Yeah. So once you pass your test, you get your license, and then you got to find a brokerage to hang your license at. And then, there's a lot of brokerages out there. The biggest thing is just the biggest thing that it comes down to is just what broker. For a lot of people, it's the money side, right? So some brokers charge 60-40 split, 80-20 split. So it just depends on your level of comfort, your level of, sales experience. Because more than anything, it's more, the sales aspect of things, and customer service, and the knowledge of how the market works, how contracts work. So depending on that, then you can kind of narrow down what brokerage you want to use.
And is it something that they're as far as those brokerage and those the company, is it up front where they tell you hey, it's this is how it is, how we split it? Is it, or is it mostly they're all set 60-40, or they do other places?
There's some that will tell you right off the bat, hey, it will be a 60-40 split, and with that, you're going to get training every week, or stuff like that. So, and then you'll get the ones that are, hey, it's a 80-20 split. You'll get some training, but also, it's not ever 100%. So you might run into the 60-40. You get all this training, but then you don't, right?
Right.
So it just depends on how committed you are too.
And so you saying you kind of were happy family, and you started going down hey, I'm gonna be a realtor. So do you feel you came with pretty much zero experience and started just going, or was it just just a bit of seeing? Did you have any influences friends or someone that was doing that, or is it just kind of
Yeah, for me, the reason why I was successful was just because I worked for a bank for 8 years. Mm-hmm. So I just had a lot of connections with a lot of relationships that I built within the years with my clients. And once I became a real estate agent, just, they kind of, when I left the bank, they started to know that I was a real estate agent. So I started getting referrals for that. So it was being in a company for so long and being able to make those connections, and also just letting friends and family know, like, hey, I can help you with your real estate transaction. But I do think that obviously my training and experience that I had at the bank helped me a lot into this career path.
And those people that are listeners, viewers, whatever, as far as like that haven't don't have experience in the bank or have never done any like mortgage transaction, whatever it might be. Do you feel is there like a day put in a bigger challenge, or is it something that it kind of all depends? Is it part sales? Is it mostly sales and like other how can I say, like, what else is involved besides the sales part? And is it people that work in the banks or have worked in type of a bank that have more leverage than others?
I think I say sales, but I think it's more negotiation. So you just got to have that negotiation skill, because you negotiate with your clients, you negotiate with agents, you negotiate with sellers. So, I mean, you have to have that negotiation skill, I think, more than that sales. Mm-hmm. But you can't get that negotiation skills without the sales, right? Yeah. So I think just if you have experience, if you want to start with a sales job, just selling anything is pretty much going to help you get into that negotiation skill, right? Knocking on doors, selling stuff. I mean, I sold phones for my first 2-3 years of sales, and I love that, doing that,
Oh, yeah, I can't remember that.
So, that was my favorite job, and, that's where I learned a lot of sales. Yeah. And it was also negotiating, and explaining products and benefits. And so it's kind of the same thing, just at a much higher level. Yeah.
And, so what's kind of when you're talking to like a client where, they, what's one of the challenges as far as talking to a client, trying to, not saying convince, because, I guess it might be that word, but trying to make sure they feel comfortable with that transaction, right? Like maybe they weren't thinking of selling, but now they want to sell. And so how do you talk to them, or how is it that you can communicate the process or with them?
I think for me, it's just, you always get that, and I don't think it's maybe convincing, but maybe trying to earn their business, right? It's the biggest thing, because, I mean, there's 22,000 agents in Utah, so. I mean, you got a lot of competition, Yeah. But you get those one-time hitters that, get their license, and it's just like, oh, I'm going to help my cousin buy a house, and then they fall off the map, right? Yeah. So it's more than anything, is just that, just giving them all the benefits that they would get from you, pinpoint those experience points, like, hey, I have experience in sales, negotiation, like, this is what the market's looking like, and then just, like, give them advice on what you would do. Yeah. And I think that kind of breaks you apart from the other agents that are just like, oh, yeah, let's just sell your house,
And I think, too, I feel like when I talked to you, because I didn't know you were a realtor. I think I did know you were a realtor, but at that point, you had already sold my house and all that. But I when you came up to me one time and you were talking about, how you have friends and or realtors or just friends that you're like, hey, they're on their second property, third property. And for me at that point, it was like, well, I don't know, I'm good with my house, but the way you educated me on like, hey, it's, this is kind of, you have your home right now, you built equity, you should be able to, use that to buy a second home. And so I feel like when the way you were talking to me was more of educational, and that will help me feel more comfortable. Yeah. Like in getting, okay, maybe I should go, because I've been for so long talking like, oh yeah, I want to get a second property, and then it happens because I'm like, I'm just worried about, the market's going to crash, or the interest is going to go up, or my job, or whatever it is,
Yeah, I think a lot of people are always scared to make a change, or anything new is scary, right? And I don't think there's no reward without risks, right? Yeah. So everything that involves risk, obviously, you're going to have some reward. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, is just the educational part. Is like, hey, I talk to everybody, I tell them what I'm doing, I tell them what my clients are doing, and if they're interested in doing it, I show them how to do it right. Yeah. And even if they don't use me, if they want to go use somewhere else, then that's fine, but at least benefit from that information, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, anybody can move into a new home with, as minimal as 5% down when you already own a house, as long as you're going to live in the property, So that's one of the biggest things that, we see on Facebook. And it's different when you see it in Facebook and Instagram and all these videos of people doing it. And then when you actually experience it yourself, it's different.
Yeah. When you were talking about the with the risk and reward, well, now I want to go back to, so when you have, like you said, you have sometimes you talk to clients and then they end up going with someone else. Do you feel kind of like, oh, I couldn't close that, or do you feel like it was like kind of a failure, not like a failure on your part, but I'm trying to like kind of, do you feel like was there something else that you could have done to close that deal, or is it, what, they just decided to?
I mean, yeah, you get that feeling of like, fuck these guys,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, you move on to the next one. So I learned that a long time ago. You can't make something work, go to the next one, or find 2 or 3 more, Yeah. So if someone doesn't go through me, that's fine. I'll go find 2 or 3 more customers,
Yeah.
So I think if we get into that mentality of like, oh, fuck, man, they didn't pick me, like, now I'm home crying for fucking 5 days.
Yeah.
Like, what is that going to do for anybody,
Yeah. So. And I guess that's something like, I not just with the realtor, but just anywhere. It's like, if you don't take that risk, you don't decide to go ahead and have that conversation. And then at the end, not even getting that project or that client, it's just like, I guess, don't let it just fucking let you take you down or
Yeah, I've seen it a lot, in my lifetime, being a branch manager and having employees that don't get the promotion and they quit and they go somewhere else and they're even more unhappy, And it's like, dude, just trust the process. Everything happens for a reason, and it just sometimes takes a little bit more to get that promotion, man.
Yeah.
All I can say is be patient, keep working hard. Don't give up on it, because that's what a lot of people do. Oh, I don't get the promotion, I'm not going to do my job anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is that going to do?
Correct.
That's only going to set you back farther, because when you go ask for the promotion again, they're going to be like, hey, you didn't do shit for 6-9 months.
Yeah. So
now we're going to make you wait even more.
Yeah.
So you're in the worst spot, I think.
Correct. So. Yeah. No, it's good to think like that, because it's like, I think I ended up quitting once, like that, because I was like, I didn't get a promotion and stuff like that. And then at the end, I'm like, was it really, I guess, worth it sometimes? And it's just like, now, it is that waiting period. But I guess, like you said, it's always that being patient. And I'm learning that now, as far as like starting podcasts on all the other stuff that I've, been trying to work on. It's just like, it's just gonna be patient, because, having to submit like a project, and then waiting for them to respond if they're going to accept or not. And at the beginning, I was the same. Like, I mean, I learned that I was like, man, I got rejected, and now what? Like, oh, I'm just going to quit and just do something else, Yeah. But that's good to let everyone know that, hey, just fucking be patient and get it going.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody has different situations. I mean, obviously, if you're tight on money and you need a raise, I mean, go find another job,
Yeah.
But, I mean, sometimes if we just wait a little bit, it'll happen for us.
What was like? Did you feel like you had what was like one of your biggest challenges as far as starting off as a realtor? Like, do you?
I guess like for me, it's just being impatient, right? Like I want results right away. So I think that it's just that, I just want to. Once I had my license, I'm like, hey, I just want to fucking take off running and get it done, But I mean, and that comes to that same thing, we got to be patient, learn the process. And I mean, you make mistakes along the way. That's how we learn. That's how we get better, and that's how we get experience.
Yeah.
We don't get experience from a book. We get experience from actually making mistakes and doing it.
Yeah.
So,
as far as what advice would you give? What advice do you give out to entrepreneurs? I know, like, you're a realtor. But I feel like you, as we had conversations before, that you are, other things that you have that you want to be doing. So what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs that want to start something and, either afraid or making up excuses of not
maybe just surround yourself with other friends or, just other people that have the same kind of ideas or visions that you have. And that actually want to do something about it, not just talk, and not do shit about it,
Yeah.
because that's our biggest mistakes. Like, we talk about doing stuff and we never do it.
Yeah.
So I think just hanging out with people that are actually doing and following through those processes, like dude, I can see you do it, so why can't I do it? So it kind of pushes you to, take that step. So
yeah. What is one I guess excuse that you heard from coming from like as a realtor, if you had friends or family or whoever that wanted to be a realtor, but then they never got to that point because, like, what was their excuse?
It's always time. I don't have time to do the classes. I don't have time to do this or the other. Yeah. So, everybody. Well, you got time to go out on the weekends. You got time to fucking hang out with your friends.
Being on social media and all that
shit.
shit.
You got to sacrifice shit to be able to get to where you want to be,
Yeah.
And we all have time, bro. Like, how many hours do you work a day?
Yeah. What? Yeah.
You wake up at fucking 6 a.m. You work 8 hours. What time is that?
You'll be done by 2.
By 2, 3,
yeah,
4?
2, 3, yeah.
Okay, so you work 10 to 6. 6 to midnight.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. That's honestly, that's what there's some days I'm fucking tired because I do that shit. Yeah. I work from 8 to 4 and then, those 2-hour drives and whatever anyways. And then I come here and I got to edit, do all this other crap. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this shit anymore.
And we all have those times where I've had those times where I'm like fucking tired. I don't want to deal with customers or clients or I'm just like, dude, I'm fucking done. I know I'll go through a period of time, right? Like it might be 2-3 days and then I have to you have to mental reset and then fucking start over again, right?
Yeah.
But some people don't mentally reset for fucking months, and that's where,
yeah,
you're like, let me get off the couch after 4 months.
So I gotta do something. I know we had a conversation in the past, but how, and I also heard from I had realtors that I reached out to as far as like when I was selling my house and I feel because my home wasn't that great, it was just like, it was in the area of Kearns or whatever it might be. And I'm not sure if you've seen it, but do you feel like there's realtors out there that only pick and choose what type of home they want to sell? Like,
yeah, with the market, it just depends on the agent too,
Yeah.
But in reality, you do get those agents that maybe when the market was hot, they're like, hey, like, I don't want to fucking take, these little tiny pre-approvals for buyers that need to buy 300 or 350. And I understand that side of things because there was nothing for 350,
Oh yeah. Shit.
So you could see that from agents, from time to time. Even you go to a car dealership and you go see a beater car, no one wants to show it to you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that same thing, But at least the salesman at a car dealership is getting paid somewhat hourly, to where a real estate agent, our time is free pretty much, buyers don't pay us anything.
Yeah. That's actually something else that I wanted to talk about is how do you make it work when it's like you depending on the transaction and also now you're driving everywhere, you're having to spend gas, your time, and then you don't close on a deal. Like, how do you deal with that?
You're just fucked. Just fucking,
that's it.
Yeah, man. You're just fucked. What I try and do, if we can't close on a deal, it hasn't happened that often to me, but there has been times where, we just can't get something going for a customer. And all we can try and do is like, hey, we tried the best we could. We couldn't make it work. Let's put a plan together to get you in the right path to get you to where you are going to be able to buy a home. And clients feel bad too, they're like, hey, like, can I pay you for your time and stuff? But it's like, no, dude, like,
this is
like I said, with risk, risking all my time and effort into the transaction, hoping that it's going to close.
Yeah.
That's where I go to like, hey, like, you got to risk shit, like risking my time and risking, I have gas, it's just a lot. And then you don't close on it, then it feels like shit. But customers feel bad, when they can't go through it. But I've had customers that can't buy right now, and then a year later they call me back and say, hey, I think we're ready.
Yeah.
And because I was nice about it, I was understanding about it, then they're like, hey, like, we're gonna call you again, right?
Yeah.
They're not like, fuck that guy. He told us to fuck off, pretty much, you know.
Yeah.
So,
No, I feel like for me, I felt like one time I was rushed to get a home because I'm like, fuck, like I already seen like 10 homes, and this realtor's driving around with me or driving around everywhere, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta have to pick something soon, you know. And even with my wife, it's just like, yeah, like let's just see what we can get. And during that time, it was different, but I'm like, damn. And just to think about it, because I know I at one point I was like, fuck, maybe I should be a realtor. And then I'm like, and then I heard from other realtors like, well, you gotta fucking drive around. You don't even know if you're gonna close this deal, like all this other, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do that shit anymore.
Yeah, and the payments, the paychecks are not consistent. You know what I mean? You might close fucking 10 deals in 1 month. You might close, 1 in 6 months. Like, it's just the way it is.
And what's your best advice for that for those realtors as far as like with the the payments being spread out? When you how you said either be like 1 month, you start getting all this money and then there's like a break in between.
I would say have a really good credit card. But no, maybe just obviously save. Make sure you have maybe 3-4 months worth of house payments, and then obviously always reestablish and refill your pipeline. Always find new customers, and that's the biggest thing. When you're a new agent, you're kind of like excited about the first one, and you close it, and then you're like, "Fuck, man! I was so excited about the one that now I don't have shit for 2 months."
Yeah, then you just focus on that one, and then you do shit.
So that's the biggest thing. It's knowing how to manage that.
Yeah. So, damn. Shit. Well, if you're listening, make sure to fucking plan it out. Don't just be fucking excited for that one fucking close and then celebrate. What do you think it's one key to success as far as for the realtors out there? Like, is there like multiple or just one that comes to your head as far as like you feel like, hey, you go do this, certain way and you'll be successful, or is it just luck? Whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's luck, man, but it's just hard work, man. But the main key is just shaking hands and kissing babies. That's what I like to say, bro.
I remember you said that, and I said, "Oh, it was like shaking hands and no, kissing baby, kissing whatever, kissing hands, shaking babies." But damn, yeah.
So I mean, meet everybody, make an impact when you meet them, and that way they remember you at least.
Yeah. So how do you go as far as for you to market yourself? Like, what is something that you do to, or is it just based off referrals, or how does that work for?
Yeah, 9 times out of 10 is just referrals. Like, to be honest, I didn't do any marketing. I didn't do any websites. I didn't post anything on Facebook, Instagram. And a lot of people see that as like, maybe, it's a failure on my part, right? But I mean, at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like posting every closing I do, it's like, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I just go out there, talk to people, try and give them the information that I have, and I think most of the time that works.
Yeah.
So teaching people how to do things different ways, or think about doing things a different way as well, because a lot of people have the mentality of like, this is how I do it, or this is how we do it, or this is how my dad do it, this is how my grandpa do it. And it's like, bro, that's not how it can be done today. Like, you can save time, you can save money. Yeah. You can go from one level to another level. You can retire a little bit sooner. Yeah.
And I mean, it's different for everyone. And I see those too, like, other realtors posting everything, and I guess just do whatever the fuck works for you,
Yeah, and I think just that whole posting and stuff is just like, fuck, man. Like, I see that shit all day on Facebook. Like, I don't want to fucking see that. And I feel like it's the same way for most people. Like, no one fucking watches 3 minutes worth of shit that a real estate agent's gonna tell them on Facebook. Yeah. But
that's like cut mine down into like a minute, so people can get the information. And honestly, this is like, I legit, for doing this is like, I, posted on TikTok, and for me, it's like helping, the person to, in a way of marketing, because I had another guest that was just referrals too, and it works for them. And I even had other people, someone that did my backyard, and it was like, I just work off referrals and I'm busy. And I'm like, so then at that point, it's like why?
Well, yeah, because you really don't need to market yourself when you're doing a good job,
Yeah.
You take care of the client, they're happy at the end. Like, you don't even have to ask for the referral, they just refer you.
Yeah. They'll just send some people over, yeah.
So as long as you're doing your job 100% and people are happy and you're being a good person, I think just things happen to you,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I'm hoping later on that happens to me. So I don't know. No, but I just because I see it, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, and that's why I bring up things like this that I feel is going to be helpful for other either people that haven't started their realtor process, or ones out there doing things, being a realtor, but doing separate things, and yeah, like I feel like legit. That's why I send referrals over to you, because I'm like, oh well, just the educational part, but also just like seeing the transactions and hear about it and just all the process, and I'm like, I need to put this on something on record to kind of help people out, and I feel like it's been great just sharing that information.
Yeah.
What's something that you would what's coming for 2023? What you feel like, as far as talking about the mortgage, home buying, what challenges, or even advantages you see coming?
I think we'll run into a lot of problems with inventory. So inventory will probably be another problem, like, the last couple years. It's dropped a lot, but also home purchases have dropped. I think they said 16%. It's the first time in like 11 years or something like that in Utah. So, I mean, rates obviously are not helping, right? So, but I'm sure you've heard it on Facebook and TikTok and all that bullshit. But, you don't buy when it's high, you buy when it's low.
Yeah.
The rate doesn't matter. It's just, if you can afford the payment, just buy a house. It doesn't matter what the market is,
Yeah, and that's what I heard somewhere, was like, just date the rate,
Yeah, you date the rate, you're marrying the home.
Yeah.
And shit, as long as you're okay with the payment for at least 18 to 36 months, 18 months to 3 years.
Yeah.
You're fine.
And I feel like that's kind of more, I feel, it's because I feel there's other realtors that I've heard is just like, oh, it's just 6 months, 8 months. Yeah. But I think you're being more realistic.
Well, yeah, we can't fucking say 6 months and then fucking everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't say, oh, you fucking told me 6 months. And it's like, no, bro, I said 18 to fucking 3 years. So, just do the math. If you can make it work, go for it. If you can't, don't push it.
Yeah, and actually what's crazy is I seen this neighbor, it was on his house, and it was on the market for like 90 days. Yeah. And for me, I was like, is it the price that they were selling it, or is it just?
It's a combination of everything. It's harder to qualify for loans because, you live in a rich neighborhood, bro. So
okay. I live in the hood. Don't be saying that. But, to me, it's just like I seen it, and I was like, man, I gotta ask, like, why the hell is like his house been still on the market? Like finally they took off the sign, so I'm hoping, or not hoping, but I guess I am for them that they sold a home.
Well, what's happening is, you sit on the market for 90 days, 100 days. And you just come off the market, bro. You wait till the market comes back.
Yeah.
I'm sure your neighbor has a 3% interest rate. I doubt he has a 7%.
Yeah.
So, why do I need to sell? I'll just stay here, wait it out 6 months to a year, maybe 18 months. Market will come back up, and then I'll sell for what I want it to,
Yeah.
So, a lot of properties coming off the market, people are just going to wait. If you need to move, fuck, just rent it for a year. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going to rent my house for a year. I'll come back next year and see what I can sell it for. You know.
Yeah. I heard this myth about with the what was it say? Was it I heard this myth that supposedly that you can when you sell your home, you can give the person your rate that you currently have. Is that possible?
Yeah, so I think it's like FHA. They call it like you can assume the rate as long as you can qualify for it. I've never had to do one, but there is people that like FHA. It's almost like a transfer of interest rate to the new buyer.
But it doesn't have to be like the same bank that they're holding it at. It doesn't have to. It is like, I mean, how does that work? If that person goes to a separate bank or it's not the same, that still works? Is that still transfer?
I think it goes to the same lender.
Oh, the same lender has to be to the same lender.
Or just FHA, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I know with the VA that I was told like years ago that you could do that. You know, you can transfer your rate.
Yeah. To another VA?
Yeah, to another VA, but that's it.
Yeah.
So that would be an advantage for me.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, a lot of agents, a lot of loan officers, a lot of financial companies obviously are trying to, you know, find ways to make it still like, you know, they wanted to make it to where people still want to buy houses, right?
Yeah.
They want to make it like, oh, you can still buy a house. That's why they're like, hey, you can do a 7-year ARM or a, you know, the 3-2-1 buy down and all these different programs that they come down with, you know,
yeah,
so that it's still attractive for people to buy a home, you know,
and
which is a good option. I mean, if you can do an ARM, you know, take a lower rate than refinance, you know, with before the 7 years. I mean,
that's the adjusted rate mortgage or something.
Yeah,
what is it?
Adjustable rate mortgage.
Yeah. And is that currently? I mean, is that lower than the current rate?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit lower.
And then just depending on what the years they put on there, then.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure about you know, 'cause I'm not a loan officer.
But yeah, just check your, you know, for people out there, just check the rates and all that. And I'm not saying like, you know, like it's just kind of trying to get all that information.
Yeah, there's different options for people. I mean, if you want to buy, there's a ton of options you can go through.
Yeah. With the rates, I was gonna say too. Man, I'm like spacing out real quick. Yeah, I'm dad or I'm drunk. With the so if you're able to trade with the FHA, is that like something that's like could be a plus for the seller? Like if saying, hey, I have an FHA with like a 3%.
Yeah, I mean,
could you raise the price on that and then sell it, or is it just?
I mean, that's what I would do. You know, it's like, you know, my house is this much because you're getting it at this rate. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't. I've seen them. I just haven't seen them sold that quick either. So I mean, I don't know how that, like how hard it is to assume that rate. You know.
Yeah. No. That's something. At least that's good at knowing that it's possible. So those people out there with those 2.5%, 3%. Another thing I was gonna ask you too, and just, you know, transfer what you can on that with the HELOCs and the home equity loans. Do you feel like that's a good thing or a bad thing, like for someone?
I mean, right now with how high the rates are, I mean, I think they're like 9%.
Oh shit, never mind.
With the HELOC, I mean, it's good to have, you know, for emergencies.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were taking them out still while the market was high and the rates were a little bit lower. But in today's market, I think it's probably anywhere 7.5% to 9%.
Yeah, because I got mine when it was 3.
Yeah. Well, it's variable. So
yeah, and it is. Now. Well, no, it's variable for 5 though.
For what?
And for 5 years.
For 5 years?
Yeah.
So what's the rate right today?
Huh?
What's the rate today?
It's still 3 or 4. 3 or 3.5.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because now I got to check.
I would check.
Yeah, because when I was told this, they told me it was like supposed to be for 4 or 5 years, and then it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it just bases off the market, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, you can go get a HELOC and it's gonna be 9%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not a bad option versus a personal loan or a credit card. You know, a lot of people are taking out the home equity lines of credit to make a lot of, you know, remodel the home or add additions to the house, finish the basement. You know, a lot of those different things.
So if you have a HELOC, check your rate, because that's what I'm about to do.
Yeah, the rates are pretty high on those, man. So.
Yeah, and I was told, like, that's side for me. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I can get for another, like, 4 years or so. I mean, you know.
Well, you'll notice on your payment. So.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I want to... What do you want to leave with the listeners and the viewers here? It can be advice, it can be quote, it can be anything. But what do you want to leave everyone here with from Pablo Negrete? What is something that you can be like, I said this shit's right, follow this, whatever it is. What do you want to say to everyone?
I don't know, just say, just get educated before you make any decisions, and talk to the right people. If you need to talk to 2, 3, 4, 5 different people, like, do it. Get different five different opinions before you do anything, and don't sit and wait, because the chance to buy a home or whatever your goals are, I mean, it might slip by. Yeah,
because I know I've heard people are hoping the market's gonna crash.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been going
bullshit.
Yeah. and I guess I got caught into that too, because I was like, oh, the market's gonna crash. Well, we'll buy this later.
Even if it crashed, let's just say the market is crashed right now. Are you gonna go buy a house with that's at 7%?
Yeah. No.
Because you didn't buy it when it was at 3%.
Yeah.
So why would you buy it when it's at 7%?
Yeah.
Because that's what I heard from a lot of customers too. Like, I don't want to buy a house because it's at 7%, and they said that the houses were gonna come down more when the rates go up. And it's like, okay, bro, if the rates go to fucking 9%, are you going to pay a $5,000 mortgage? Yeah. Like, no, you're not.
And it's like you keep waiting, and it just keeps going higher and higher.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting.
If the rates keep going higher, the homes are just coming off the market, because even if it crashed, you're not going to sell your house for $100,000 less than your neighbor.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah.
What's your rate?
My rate right now?
Yeah.
2.5.
So why the fuck would you sell?
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's why I'm still sitting on mine, because I'm just like, and plus I like the house and I just finished my backyard. But
even if you did, even if you hated the fucking house, why would you sell if you're at 2.5?
But what do you do in that? What do you
just
do?
Wait till the market comes back.
So you just keep it staying in this house and until eventually
you just hold and hold.
Yeah.
What do you think people with fucking Bitcoin are doing?
Oh yeah, that's another thing we'll talk about later. I mean, not next time or whatever, crypto and all that good stuff. Damn, hey, you're right. Speaking the truth. Shoot. What do you? So you left people with that, So how can people, reach out to you? Where can they find you? What can they do to reach Pablo Negrete to sell their home?
I retired.
You retired? Or. Yeah, this is kind of your time to kind of do your thing. If you people, you want them to find you or whatever it is. If not, then
I'm on Facebook, so people could just shoot me a text on Facebook, and
they can go. What's your address? Nah, just kidding. Nah. It's like I'm selling you
some of my address on.
I know, right? No, I actually, I honestly do it so like. When I post this, people can, I want to. It's like a circle for me that eventually this is helping my guests out.
I think I can just give you the info so you can just post it on there.
Yeah, and I will. I just wanted to, just have that. But if you want to share, do you have anything else? Anything else you want to share and talk about?
No.
You good? Well, that's all my questions for tonight. I'm feeling kind of something, but. Anywho, this is Visions to Ventures here, episode with Pablo Negrete, the best realtor out there in Utah. Out of the 22,000, he is the one. So I just want to thank everyone for taking their time to listen, to viewing this on YouTube. Don't forget, we also have TikTok, so I'll do snippets of this and share his knowledge that he shared with everyone. So again, thank you again. Appreciate it. And we're out.